go ahead and go on it as tight and onto the polyps as you can.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, I believe this is a primnoid coral. The genus is Caligorgia, and the species is Kinoshita. I think that's how you say
Sounds Japanese.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Sans, we're gonna have to actually pick up and go.
it. Okay, that's fine. This is a common this primnoid we
Go ahead and
see
come wide,
commonly.
please.
The ship's between moves. I'll just wait until you're
Yeah, you're
caught
good.
up.
Thanks.
What kind of coral is that?
A primnoid.
One of our viewers says the stalked ones with the little white pom-pom looking
Slope
and
down.
And we're
mine's
way
really
off
important here is a
the
who.
slope.
Yeah.
We can either go down or move the ship back in.
Yeah. Guy, did you have a
Oh.
preferred depth that you were aiming for with this?
Did you have a preferred depth?
They're discussing.
Okay.
I thought, Guy, I thought you were saying earlier that you wanted the steeper slope. You wanted us to be down a little bit lower, or are we okay at this depth?
Have to go look.
This is where Herc is.
Be just a second.
You can come up here. You're allowed. I don't bite.
So we,
I mean,
there, she's pointing to us, right?
That's Herc. Yeah.
Go down
So bring it down.
to that darker contour.
I'm gonna come down a bit.
Sure, please.
Yeah, I think we're up on top and the slope is below us.
So can we bring it down to that black contour?
All right, sounds good.
Is that 950, that contour, Nav?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1950.
1950, that makes more sense.
1950,
Guy, is there something that you're hoping to find a little bit deeper
Is there
down the
anything I
slope?
can do to help you?
No, we can just we can do a slight
chance
move,
of
with an angle.
overhangs and
a little bit south,
any
a
angle
little
away.
southward
hard rock
angle.
surface
Yeah.
that doesn't have a lot of detritus
And
on
they'll
it is
pull
going to
us
be a
that
place that
25 meters that they want to
coral
drop.
can colonize. So we're looking for the steepest thing, slopes, and if we can get an overhang, that's even better.
All right, how about 095? Too much?
Yeah, 90's okay, I think, for now. We're well off the... just changed rather quickly there.
Okay.
I think they want to drop to 1950, I think, to the depth.
That's that.
Yeah, we can do that.
The black contour there.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Bridge nav. 20 meter step bearing 090.
All right. Okay, that's about as far as I want, Argus.
Rather.
A little more. There you go, perfect. Be perfect for a minute. Yeah, drive it at 90, Aaron, I think is good.
Sounds good. Thanks, Data Lab.
90, 95, whatever.
FYI, everybody, it's Cheesecake Day.
Oh,
wow.
man, don't tell us that now.
We're so close, though. All right, continue on at 90, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Bridge nav. Have another step, same bearing, 090.
All right, so we're at 1947 with 3 meters altitude, so we're exactly at 1950 for you guys.
Excellent. So just follow this along.
Still looks like this could be better here. Like these contours are starting to widen out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what
So
can
if
we
you
do to get us here?
If you have like good, if you like your USBL hits on Argus, you can kind of like drive that around instead of, you know, the ship's position. Like,
Yeah.
it's starting to get off too much. Like, I can see the way the sonar breaks there, that if we do 90, it's going to move us off
Okay.
a bit too much.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's hard. Our USBL's been like confetti,
yeah.
so it'll trust.
No, that's why like err on the side of caution. I don't. If we put moves in
Yeah.
and we bring us too far off the cliff, then it's fine. We go back in. But like the way I see it, I'd go like there's our heading, normal 2. I'd say like 60, 70 degrees will keep us in line with it. Makes sense? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
I can see that it's off by like 10 degrees from normal 0.
Yeah. But, you know, it just changes constantly too, so.
Yeah.
Are we waiting for a ship move or?
The ship's moving. Yeah.
Got it.
I was just deciding if we want to adjust the bearing a little bit, try and get down on the slope.
Yeah, I would do 1 or 2 at 70, and then when the line straightens out there, just in front of that 2B update marker,
Yeah.
go back to 90.
Okay. Bridge nav. A 20-meter step bearing 070.
Down a bit.
Roger.
Wow.
That's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking more promising. Some nice sponges.
Wow.
These are the Ferrea sponges.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
All right, video, you want to go ahead and push on
it's
in
that
a bit,
time.
please? Oh, it is that time. All right, video, go ahead and come wide, please. Mike, would you mind coming down a little bit, please?
So to the right of the lasers, that there you see the two different morphologies of sponges. They're in the same genus, but Phorea, with the one, yes, that the lasers are touching right now is a little more flat. That's potentially a new species that's being described by a sponge expert.
Are we considering sampling? Should I hold?
We don't need this one, but I just
Okay.
wanted to point out that,
Go ahead and zoom on in their video.
yes, we've
That's great.
collected.
We'll just frame them both.
That's pretty.
And Jen Roletto likes to call this one the lasagna noodle
Aaron,
sponge.
try one step at like 50-meter bearing. Just bring us in a bit closer.
Okay.
Getting out the rhubarb here again.
Bridge nav.
Did you want to frame them both up in the image?
Sure.
There you go.
I have a step bearing 050.
Right, video income line, please.
20 meters.
Thanks, guys.
So for our viewers who are just tuning in, we are at the Cordell Marine National Sanctuary at a place called Box Canyon, exploring about, I think, 1,950 meters. If we get a little quiet here, it's because we're getting ready to do the shift change. So please stay with us. We thank you for flying with EV Nautilus.
Copy. Okay. Altitude, 4 meters. Really? Am I talking now? That light's on, right?
I hear you.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. If you're listening yet. Are you on? Can you hear me?
We
Can't hear you.
we hear you. There's a little
So
bit
I'm
of
sliding. We're lateraling.
conversation
lateraling.
going on.
We're lateraling
back
that
here,
way.
deciding what to do.
Roger.
Why are we lateraling?
This is what we do. This is
Really?
the way this cliff is running.
I don't see a cliff. I see mud. Let me get a little closer. Is that what? Up, Simba, up, up, up. Sorry. Got the C bias thing. I gotta back it off a little. Wrong way. Well, that didn't take long to stuff the ROV in the mud. Moving on.
Bridge nav. Get 2 steps bearing 090. So this area that's concave upslope is probably not going to be the best habitat, and our best bet here is to move through this area to the next waypoint as quickly as possible.
Roger that. Turn and burn. Do you copy that, navigator?
Roger, moving.
On the way. I gotta turn this down more. It's killing me. I actually like to fly the ROV.
We won't say anything to the other watch.
All right.
Hey, there's a rock.
Welcome to the 4 to 8. Are you hearing me, Jenny?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Great to be here.
Great to be here. Thank you all. It looks like this is Danny Lipsky. I'm the watch lead for the 4 to 8 shift. I'm the research coordinator at Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary. It looks like the previous watches got us to a great location. I'd like to keep moving along this contour, as Guy said.
Do you want to see anything here, or
And
shall we move on?
I'd like to keep at about this height and keep moving along. I will indicate if we need to stop and zoom and take quick photos, or if we need to stop and take a longer look or take a sample. Otherwise, this is a pretty nice speed.
Roger.
And I think, Guy, you were indicating that we will find some better habitat up ahead, you think?
Yeah, if you look at the contours, you can see that this area is concave upslope.
So, sorry, I'm not seeing a cliff or...
I think your best bet is just try to make it to the next waypoint and not worry too much about a cliff here.
What's my next waypoint?
Are we headed to 2B updated?
We're heading to
east.
2B updated.
2B.
It's about 50 meters.
50 to the
Sorry.
east?
Yeah, Herc distance is 70 meters due east.
Roger. I see why we're lateraling now. Are you happy to keep lateraling, Danny, or do you want to turn and burn? Or
Let's,
that's what they've been doing.
this is okay for this substrate here. If we get to something a little more interesting, I'd like to be head on.
Copy. I am pegged laterally, by the way. Are we all right with the... So are we going to be heading east for quite a while?
Yeah.
Does it make sense to have Argus a little bit more to the north, or?
We're, well, assuming these contours are correct, we're going to start trending to the southeast.
Trending to the southeast, roger.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? Sorry, pilot messing with his chair and losing the plot.
Guy, can you hear me now?
If I want to do auto out,
Yep.
I have to switch this on the GUI, don't I? If I go here, that's auto depth, right? It's the same button, but you switch, if I recall. Like if I bash it in now, that gives me,
You're in auto out.
where do you see that?
Now it's nothing. Now auto out.
Auto depth.
Auto out keeps coming up.
Okay. That's right. So you switch it on the, sorry, it'll take me at least one shift to get up to speed again. You switch it on the GUI to go between heading and altitude.
Interesting.
It's not working. Is that too fast?
That's looking good. What is that? Oh, that's just a Bryson jib with its arms up. Never mind. Yes, this is a good speed. This is a decent height. No faster than this.
Sure.
So we'll just move along to the next.
Just going to adjust our heading a bit so we're.
Once everybody gets settled in, I'd like to introduce our watch and talk about our objectives for the dive.
So I came way to the south there on the nav screen. Is that all right? Or I need to push back to the north?
Waypoints to the north.
Roger.
I don't know if they want us to hit that or if they're just sort of general suggestions.
I'd like you to get to 2C.
You want to move to 2C now?
We're not to.
We're coming up to 2B.
Okay. So the whole stretch between 2B and 2C is going to be fairly similar. It's lower slope terrain. 2C is really the door to the steeper area again. So I would suggest going as quickly as possible through this.
Okay, we can still get decent video moving like this, so if we don't make any stops, I think we can still cover some good ground.
Yeah, I guess I kind of drifted to the south with the contour there, maybe? I don't know. I was just holding my altitude, not my depth.
2C looks a ways away. Can somebody tell me the distance to that?
Yeah, Herc distance to 2C is 630 meters.
Okay.
Ah, 2C is where we're going.
Now.
Okay.
It's always evolving.
Yeah, yeah. That appears to be downhill, yeah?
We could go downhill to go back uphill, or we could cross slope it and go uphill.
I'm dragging you, aren't I?
Yeah, it's getting pulled around.
Oh, wait.
You guys want to maintain a constant depth? Or depth gate?
Not necessarily, but we want to get to 2C in the most efficient path as possible.
Okay.
Turning. It's looking towards 2C, isn't it?
Yeah, your bearing's gonna be 117.
That's going to be downhill, so stuffing it.
Yeah, that's the problem. If we go straight, it'll be side hilling and then uphill, so that's actually not bad.
Can I move the ship a little faster? Are you stepping him? So I'm dragging Argus as usual. That's my. I'm moving too fast.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
It is. Faster, faster. 2C as fast as possible.
Ooh, what's that? Oh, shit.
117, you say?
There we go.
Hello to all of our new listeners. This is Carrie. I'm your Science Communication Fellow for this watch. And we're just getting situated on our new watch. We're still in Box Canyon and Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary. And in a few moments, we'll go around and introduce ourselves. Who's in the room? Also, the currently on duty part of Nautilus Live, we're working on getting that updated for everyone. Thanks for your patience.
And we are not on a transect, right?
We just started transect. Oh,
I can
one
move
of their
the camera a little.
No.
So I'm tilting down the camera a little, guys, because and girls, because we're headed downhill here towards 2C. Downhill then uphill. So. Pulling you again?
A little bit.
And shout when I do that, and I'll wait.
Oh.
I forget I have to wait for you. Slow pull.
I'm just a little uphill from you.
This is Danny. Guy and I just conferenced about the location and what's coming up at 2C, which looks like more promising habitat. So earlier I had said I wanted to get some good video here, not move too fast, but really we just want to get to 2C for some of that hard substrate there. So
copy that.
Great.
I am currently waiting for Argus and Nautilus.
Ship is attempting to go at 0.5 to target 2C.
0.5, Raja.
I just wrote here, we changed shift. Okay.
So for new people tuning in, you may not know that Hercules and Argus, our two ROVs, are tethered to the ship EV Nautilus. So when we move to a new point. Obviously, all three elements need to move in coordination together. So we're currently moving Hercules, Argus, and EV Nautilus to our next point.
Sometimes the Hercules pilot forgets that. So while we're kind of in that mode, if you guys see anything that you want to have a closer look at, I'm happy to. If we're not on a video transect, we can stop and have a look while we wait for Argus and the ship to catch up.
Great, and it's also just a nice time for everyone on this new watch to introduce themselves and share, you know, what their specialty is and where they're coming from. Science team, would you like to start?
Sure, I'll get started. This is Danny Lipsky. I'm the watch lead on this shift, and I'm the research coordinator at Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary.
Hi, everybody. This is Jenny Stock with Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary. I'm the education and outreach coordinator at the sanctuary, helping out Danny with science and communication on this great opportunity to be down here on the seafloor of the sanctuary.
And I'm Taylor Ann. I'm the Ocean Sciences intern. I'm at Ball State University. I actually just graduated and started my master's program at CSUN. And I'm here as Ocean Sciences intern and data logger. And I'm happy to be aboard Nautilus.
How about video people?
Yeah, we got one of those. My name's Wayne Borneo. I'm lead video engineer, and went to school at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology in Terre Haute, Indiana. Graduated Bachelor of Science in Physics, and I am now in my first year on board EV Nautilus in this position, and yeah, enjoying it very much.
Hi, I'm Antonella Wilby. I'm the Argus pilot, and I'm currently a PhD student at UC San Diego working on autonomous underwater mapping.
Hello everyone, I'm Dan. I'm the Herc pilot for this shift. This is my third trip on Nautilus.
I'm Miles Saunders, navigator for the 4 to 8 watch. This is my 35th cruise aboard Nautilus. I've been out here all year.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And again, my name's Carrie Roble. I'm from Hudson River Park, New York City. This is my first cruise on the EV Nautilus. Super excited.
How about I do an intro about this?
Yeah, it's also a great opportunity for us to just remind listeners and viewers, you know, the purpose of this specific expedition. So, Jenny, would you like to share a little bit about where we are and why we're here today?
Absolutely. So we are about 20 miles west of Marin County, Sonoma County. That's just north of San Francisco, and we're west off the continental shelf in a place called Box Canyon. And this is part of NOAA's National Marine Sanctuary System. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has a system of protected areas in the United States, and we are one of them. And we are contiguous with two other sanctuaries right by us, the Greater Farallones, who's also on this cruise and will be visiting in the next few days. And just south of that is the Monterey Bay Sanctuary. And Cordell Bank is 1,286 square miles of all offshore habitat. Our charge as National Marine Sanctuaries is to protect and conserve these places. And one of the things to protect and conserve is to know what you have there to protect and conserve. And that's one part of our mission out here on Nautilus, is to learn more about these habitats, because we haven't seen these deep habitats before. So that's one of our objectives, and Danny will talk a little bit more about those. The sanctuary is located in a really productive ocean ecosystem on the west coast. We're part of the California Current Marine Ecosystem, where we have the really strong upwelling system, which really drives the food web here in the spring and the summer months. It's seasonal. And we're kind of towards the end of upwelling season, sort of transitioning out of it soon. But with that strong, productive food web, we have an incredible assortment of marine life from top to bottom, and animals that soar across the Pacific to eat here, but a lot of local species that stay here because the food is so good.
She's Kopi.
The sanctuary has a diversity of habitats. The main feature that the sanctuary was named after is up on the continental shelf. We ditched that on this cruise. We're in the Cordell Bank habitats are just a couple, less than 1,000 meters on the continental shelf, in nice rocky temperate area filled with beautiful temperate reef habitat of anemones and hydrocorals and sponges and a lot of diverse invertebrates and fishes as well, rock fishes all around it. And then we have the soft sediments around the sanctuary, which are brimming with life. So many invertebrates on top of the sediment, just below the sediment, moving across. It's pretty fascinating to see what lives all around. And thankfully, with our time here with the Ocean Exploration Trust, we've been able to get into the deeper parts of the Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary and start to learn more about these deep environments. And it's absolutely thrilling to be out here exploring and learning and sharing it with people all around the world. So we're so happy for folks to turn in. As the educator for the sanctuary, it's super fun for me to be here and actually talk to people at the same time. Danny, you want to talk a little bit more about our objectives?
Sure. Before I go there, if we're still waiting, I'll take some zooms on fish we come across and sea pens, but don't want to slow the vehicles down. But if we're still waiting, I'll take some of those zooms.
Copy that. No, we've been moving the whole time. I'm just getting it dialed in here. It's been a couple of weeks, so we're moving at a constant 0.3, 0.4 of a knot.
Okay. Yeah, so we are exploring Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary so that we can characterize the habitat and communities that live here. We are looking at this area for the first time, this particular area. In 2017, we had our first chance in looking at deep habitat with the Nautilus and Hercules and Argus, and that was the first time we had ever looked below 500 meters in the sanctuary. We saw incredible habitat and learned a lot about the species, made a lot of collections of species at that time, but it really sparked a lot more questions as well. So we are back to explore new areas of the sanctuary that either we haven't been to those depths before, or in this case, we've been to similar depths in the sanctuary, but we haven't seen them in this area. So we have specific things we are looking for as particular habitats. We're looking for hard, rocky substrate. We saw that earlier in the dive. And we are headed in the direction to find some more of that habitat, because that is where we see an abundance of corals and sponges and other invertebrates that we are interested in.
Not sure where that dust is coming from. I don't think it's from me. I have our nose into the breeze. So
yeah.
This current coming down the slope there.
That could be a sign of this strong current and this really light, fluffy sediment that is here. The currents are really important in this deep sea habitats, because a lot of these animals are feeding from the water column on this marine snow that is raining down from above. So current delivery of those nutrients is an important feature of these habitats.
And does that say your altitude's 10 meters?
Yeah, she's a bit low because we're going down the hill and I'm stretched out.
And Danny, could you expand on how you drew your transects? What variables did you take into consideration for these dives?
Yeah, we had a lot of help from Guy Cochran on that, our geologist from USGS. He's just stepped out of the van. And the start of selecting good transects to explore with an ROV is to map them first using multi-beam bathymetry mapping, which is sending sound down to the bottom of the ocean and using that to make a map of the seafloor. Then we can look at the contours, the what we would call on land the topography, the bathymetry, the slope, the hardness of that substrate, and we are looking for hard substrate on a steep slope tends to produce the kind of habitat that corals and sponges can thrive in.
I think the one thing that's really cool about this area is we talk a lot about upwelling and the nutrients coming up to the surface, which really are nutrients for phytoplankton to use to grow and multiply and stimulate the food web up top. But all that productivity that we benefit from up on the surface waters eventually rains down as marine snow and acts as nutrients for all these other organisms down below. So it's kind of fun. We have the nutrients coming up and the nutrients going down for a full benefits.
I'll take a zoom of that sea pen if we are stopped and waiting. Sure.
Copy that.
Yeah, can we get those polyps in focus?
Yep. Working on it. Oh. Let's come wide.
Okay, that's good. We can zoom out and keep moving.
Okay. That's about.
All those polyps are what eat that marine snow. Just have they're like little hands just grabbing out. And I just saw a little scale worm scurry across the sediment up in the upper right there. Wow, you really get a good zoom here.
Yeah.
It's like a little shrimp in there too.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
That is a tiny shrimp. Yeah, it's full zoom. That's all I got. Yeah, okay, coming wide. Full wide.
So one theme that we're going to be definitely talking a fair amount on these dives is the theme of habitat and the importance of corals in creating habitat for a variety of animals. So I do have a question here from Cody Dawson, and he was curious about the types of urchins and other animals that we're expecting to find around these corals.
I'm sorry, it was about the other organisms we're expecting to find?
Yes.
Yeah, we often see a lot of associates with corals. One thing we see are a lot of brittle stars or other types of stars. They tend to climb up the corals to get up into the water column. We often see small shrimp and little tiny crustaceans like that. Those are a couple that I can think of. So sometimes you can see tons of organisms on some of the corals, and actually earlier today we saw a sea pen that had barnacles on it. We've seen snails and anemones on corals. Right now we're not seeing a lot of corals, but we're seeing a lot of stars, sea stars and anemones. There are some rocky outcrops that the anemones are on. And looks like we have an octopus at the top of the screen, just out of view. And what is that there? Just below that, we have another black coral. It looks like an Umbella pathes, which we've seen quite a bit of. This is, no, the octopus. We'll just get a few shots of that and then move on. We've got Granellodon, Boreo pacifica, I believe, and I've seen a few of these today on our dive already.
We saw an octopus that was a lot lighter earlier. I think it was different species.
That's a great shot, thank you. So we have about 600 meters to go or so to the next feature. Do we have a time estimate on how long that would take us?
Yep, the ship should be there between 35 and 40 minutes.
Great.
Yep.
I'm sorry, are you asking if we want to? Oh, so you can get out ahead and then wait for the ship? Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. Okay, great.
Is he on the SPL?
You're dragging your port quarter.
So we're about 7 hours in on a expected 20-hour dive in Box Canyon.
I just didn't hear Wayne in the earphones.
And making progress along our transect. And again, this is just an important reminder that this is a marine sanctuary, and it was expanded, almost doubled just a few years ago in 2015. I was just curious as to some of the reasons why it was expanded, and you know, can other marine sanctuaries follow similar suit in expanding their territories?
I can take that one.
Go for lasers.
Well, our both the Greater Farallones and Cordell Bank sanctuaries both expanded in 2015, and it was really a request from the communities up north, as well as along the coast here, that wanted to see the protections that the sanctuary offers expanded all the way up to Point Arena. And one of the big regulations or prohibitions we have being in our national marine sanctuaries is no oil or gas exploration, and our communities.
Herc, are we moving down slope? I just wanted to see if we don't want to get too far down unless that's the most expedient way to get over to 2C. Okay, yeah, we want to stay on that contour where the ship is if possible.
Thanks, Danny. So as the communities on land that really wanted to see those expanded, we have a regulation that has a prohibition of oil and gas exploration and seabed disturbance. And people requested to expand those protections to the current areas that they are. So we had a public process where people could weigh in on what they wanted to see, and an environmental impact statement to examine the impacts of expanding the National Marine Sanctuary, and public meetings again to respond and react to that. And it took I'm trying to think, it took a year or two. I can't remember if it was 1 year or 2 years, but we officially expanded in 2015. And Cordell Bank, the justification for getting bigger was that we didn't have Bodega Canyon in the National Marine Sanctuary boundaries. It was completely out. And we've known through our observations with at-sea surveys that the surface waters are really productive there. We see a lot of whales and seabirds there. We're now just starting to learn about the deep sea part of it. So a very significant zone for a lot of different animals on the surface. And then up north with Point Arena is the area where we have our source waters, the source upwelling waters come up, and they drift down into the Gulf of the Farallones region down here. And while they're drifting down is when that productivity really takes off, and so the food kind of lands here. So the justification to bring Bodega Canyon in was about that, and for the Greater Farallones to bring in the source waters that are really important to the ecology of the waters downstream, or down the California current, we should say. And then going further west was just to try to prevent further gas and oil exploration by going off the continental slope to protect these habitats. And that was a very big justification for, or big reasoning the communities wanted to see these sanctuaries expand. I have to say I really value the no seabed disturbance regulation for this area, reading about deep sea mining happening in other parts of the world, destroying seafloor habitat, and we're really lucky to have this protected area here that protects this type of habitat. Looks like we're finding something interesting.
Yeah, so this is we're moving back up slope where we want to be, and as we're moving up slope where we think there's might be some more hard substrate, we're starting to see some of these rocky outcrops. These are likely rocks that have fallen from the slope above. So we are starting to see some sponges attached to these rocks and some interesting habitat. A lot of anemones, these big flower-looking features on the bottom. Those are anemones, and a lot of stars, and the sea cucumbers are the kind of flat black critters. We've got grenadiers and eel pouts are the fish we've been seeing.
Someone from our audience asked how deep Argus and Hercules can dive. So Hercules can go to depths of 4,000 meters. Argus, actually untethered from Hercules, can go even deeper to 6,000 meters. Right now we're expected to stay around the 2,000 meter mark. But these are pretty impressive robots, and I'm excited to see some of the sample collection and watch their manipulated arms act.
ROVs Hercules and Argus are the type of technology that are allowing scientists to start to describe this deep sea environment. It's relatively new that, ooh, fish got tucked up with that anemone. To explore these deep water habitats, it's so new that we're learning about the deep sea in the last 50 years or so. We've just started to get to know this place. It kind of felt like we were launching a rocket earlier when we were launching the ROVs. It's just so exciting to be able to send down eyes to the bottom of the ocean and learn about our own planet, ocean, planet Earth.
Herc, could we come up maybe 5 or 10 meters upslope a little bit? We might hit some better habitat. And then we could just come up, and if we hit that, then just keep moving along.
Those cucumbers look like they were squashed, like stepped on. They look like footprints.
Yeah.
Curious what they look like underneath. This rock looks a bit different than what we were looking at earlier. Looks more like a muddy rock.
And we have
sedimentary.
these Brisingid stars.
Wow.
Brisingids.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
gorgeous collection.
really close.
And crinoids next to it too.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still just a loose piece that's fallen off of a wall. Probably just need to go up slope a bit further, then turn towards 2C.
Yeah. Wait, let's keep going upslope a few more.
I see cucumber.
You can really see the adaptations of these anemones and stars with their long tentacles and arms to